Hello, my name is Mark Richey. I work for Harvestland Co-op. I'm here today with Steve Dlugosz. I work in the East Central Indiana part of our territory and starting to see an increased population of water hemp in our area. And we're starting to see that's becoming a great concern for us. So Steve's here to tell us some ways to help combat that weed.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, it's water hemp's got a lot of people's attention in 2018. Unfortunately, it's been out there actually a number of years. It's interesting how the adoption curve of that weed is. It's come basically from the West. Iowa and Illinois has had it for quite a while. It's just crept over either naturally or through transportation and machinery and stuff. But year 1 and 2, most guys will kind of not even pay attention to what that is. And then year 3, there's usually this explosion. And for a lot of guys, 2018 was the explosion. And suddenly it's on the radar. They're not controlling it. And there's lots of good reasons why it's so difficult.
Yep. So looking at that 2018 year, we're definitely in our area. What are some ways we could help combat that a little bit? Is it through chemicals, or what are we looking at?
Well, one of the things we talk about is, I've actually mentioned this at field days, is the easy button's gone. It's not controlled very well with Roundup. In fact, many of our ALS herbicides, they're just naturally resistant to it. So we have to go with some planned programs, and the key word is being a planned program. It's not a weed that does well with control if we just react to it. And so the combination of what we call residuals, that is putting a material down that stays in the soil, as well as the timely post-emergence application, those are key.
So speaking of that timeline, what are we looking at? Is this fall burn down? Is this done in season?
Yeah, real good question. Unfortunately, it's pretty much a pure summer annual, which means whatever we do in the fall or even early spring has minimal effect. This weed begins to germinate when there's sunshine and there's warmth. And unfortunately, what makes it so difficult is there's multiple flushes. And that's what a lot of guys, all of a sudden, it kind of catches their attention is they had good control and suddenly 3 weeks later, it's all back. And there's some water hemp species, once summer gets warm, that can grow upwards of 1 to 2 inches a day. So it really can get away from you very quickly. But the multiple flushes is the reason it's so persistent.
Well, Steve, this is starting to sound kind of an expensive program. Are there any alternatives we can do?
Yeah, that's actually the word. It's expensive. That's just the way it is. It's a driver weed. The universities call it a driver weed. That is, it drives management. In fact, even to the point where people will choose genetics. They'll choose their soybean genetics, Liberty beans or dicamba-tolerant soybeans, just to combat this weed. So it is expensive. It does change things, especially because we need to use multiple modes of action at repeated times. And we also need, when we make a post-emergence application, we need to put a residual down with it. So there's no way around it. It is an expensive weed.
Well, Steve, I appreciate your time today. I think we just scratched the surface on the issues of this weed. And I ask anybody at home watching this video to contact your YieldPro specialist to get a little more in depth, and if we have even more questions, we can bring Steve out. So thank you.
Thanks.